just say that people left South Troy to come here. I stayed. I was told that I was to finish cleaning up the dining room, which we then called the refectory. People would bring things to me and say, "What do we do with this?" And I'd say, "Oh, I don't know. Send it to the junior 8, they can use it." That included a large box of rice. So, years later, I got the story that they had a lot of rice at the junior 8. I hope they got used to it. The day people were getting ready to leave, I remember Sister Virginia walked into the refectory, took a chair, and put it smack in the middle, which meant if you came from the hallway into the refectory to go to the elevator, you walked around Sister Virginia. And she would sit there saying, "I'm not moving. I'm not moving." And the more she said it, the more frustrating it became for everyone around her. She was determined she would not leave South Troy. Finally, we were rescued. Someone brought her, and she left calmly. And she seemed to be all right when we got here. But that was late, so I don't know. Another thing that really always stuck in my mind was we would come in on the bus after teaching all day. Sister Verena would be standing on the loading dock. This one day, after being told where to go so many other days, Ann Gaffigan said to the bus driver, "Go to the front door." He turned the bus and headed for the front door. Those who were in South Troy will remember that. Sister Verena doubled over laughing. She thought it was the funniest thing. Yeah, she was a good sport about it. We would go to Saturday school, but we never did homework because we were busy polishing hallways, washing windows, washing floors, straightening things out, putting things where they belonged. Of course, we didn't know where they belonged, but they went where we thought they belonged. So that worked out fairly well. When it came to mealtime, those of us who waited on table went to second table. And I can still picture it. They hadn't unwrapped the table yet. So we had this lovely brown cardboard all the way down the table. And that's where we ate. If you can imagine. Nobody bothered to remove it. We certainly didn't. But at least we had a clean table underneath the cardboard. I was one of the ones to make coffee when we first moved in. Ann Gaffigan was my partner. One day we were told that the next morning we were to be in the area where the coffee is to be made. And a gentleman would come and he would look at the process we were using to make the coffee. Well, Ann and I, at that hour of the morning, neither one of us were too serious. And when he whipped out his thermometer and took the water temperature, we almost died. We choked. There he stands, taking the temperature of the water to be sure it was hot enough for coffee. It was. It was plenty hot enough. If you knew Sister Verena, you knew that she wanted hot coffee. Then there were her announcements. Whoever put the baby in my office, please take it back. The poor novices didn't know that the baby was the infant of Prague. And as we were coming out of school in June, we were still doing floors, et cetera, but we also had exams to correct. That was lots of fun. I don't think any of us saw the bed much before 11 every night, if it wasn't later. Excuse me. I recall checking the doors at night to be sure that they were closed. And again, my partner was Ann Gaffigan. Ann and I got to work to do these things, you know. So we were downstairs looking at the doors leading out to the stations. And there was this little tiny snake. I looked at Ann looked at me, and she said, "We'll write a note to the night watch." The two of us turned tail and left. The days went fast. They went very fast. By August, we were out of summer school, and since they needed our rooms for other people who were coming in, because we were going out, a group of us went down to Ground. And that was our first experience that far away from the center of the house. So we thought it would be easier to walk over to Assumption than to walk to chapel. When we first came, chapel, of course, was not ready. So we went to the little chapel. And one day, we're there ready for prayers, and we hear this coming down. What in heaven's name is that? It was the dog.
Teddy.
The dog. Well, that poor dog got in a fight, and it was taken to the vet before morning prayers. And in the back we heard, "Mother's not here." Then it would be quiet. "Mother's not here." And all of a sudden it dawned on us, when Athanasia was here, it was quiet. Matthew was quiet. When Athanasia left, she would raise Cain. So she would be stamping, and then she'd clap her hands, and "Mother's not here," just as happy as the day is long. And the dog, of course, was very important to the house. It came back, it lived a while. It survived. Charges were also interesting. I had the back stairs leading down from chapel down to Ground. And I just got finished cleaning them this one day, and I thought, oh, good job done. I got everything put away, and I meet Ann Gaffigan, and she says to me, "One of the men just came in and dropped a cigarette on one of your stairs and smashed it out." I could have killed him, you know, the frustration. But then it dawned on me, this to them was not our home. This was more like a public building to them. And they've had access to everything. And so there was an adjustment for both sides. They were no longer as free to do what they had been doing, and we learned to tolerate some of the things that they did that we just wouldn't expect people to do. I could probably think of a few more things, but I think you'd rather not hear them.